Welcome to Behind the Curtain, Nashville's movers, shakers,
and tastemakers.
Brought to you by Cord Real Estate, your key to the heart of Nashville. I'm Steve Luther alongside my co-host Van Hoy.
Here we peel back the layers of Nashville's vibrant scene, sitting down with the innovators, creators, and leaders who shape our city. From music to business and everything in between, we dive into the journeys that have brought them to where they are today.
We're here to uncover the stories behind the success, the passion driving their pursuits, and why they've chosen Nashville as their stage. It's about the people who dream big, push boundaries, and make this city truly unique.
So join us as we explore the heart and soul of Nashville through the eyes of those who know it best.
Well, today we're excited to chat with Dave Petruziello.
Petruziello.
Okay, let me start over.
Petruzzi?
Cut.
Petruziello, yeah.
No, don't cut. This is the part I like. I like the
Petruziello.
natural starts. This is good.
But I should have asked that before we started recording.
Well, I like it when you show your human side.
I was
Mr. Perfection.
I was using my phonetics, You got to say it with
better not go there.
An Italian accent. Petruziello.
Do you remember the right way to say it now?
Petruziello.
Is that right?
Nailed it. Nice work. Nice work.
You're a quick learner.
I listen.
Don't edit any of that out. That's good.
Well, today we're excited to chat with Dave Petruziello, a dynamic leader whose career trajectory spans from professional sports to music industry innovation. As the founder and BDO of Vocana, Dave has revolutionized the way independent musicians manage their careers and engage with fans through a sophisticated digital platform. Combining his deep understanding of data analytics with a passion for music, Dave's work at Vocana is dedicated to leveling the playing field for artists. In addition to his business ventures, Dave is also a committed advocate for the arts through his role at the Steve Popovich Legacy Foundation, where he honors the cultural impact of legendary musical talents. Dave, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Very nice introduction.
What's a BDO?
Business Development Officer.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I learn something new every day.
I assumed, but I was going to ask that too.
I asked the stupid question.
It shouldn't be that probably, or what?
I've never seen anybody else.
I'd have to Google it,
creative, like something like, I don't know.
Well, that's why I'm the chief troublemaker.
And I'm the chief experience officer.
Experience is good too.
Yes,
I like that a lot. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I got to kick mine up a notch for sure.
So let's kind of jump in.
Take us.
You were in the NFL for a little bit. Tell us about that. How did you get into that?
Sure. They bugged me. No, I honestly, I just, it was my passion growing up. I was fortunate enough to have the size along with it. So, it was definitely
good genes.
Yeah, very good genes.
If you're not watching this on YouTube, if you're listening to this on a podcast channel, he's a big dude.
He is. He even asked for a different chair.
Yeah.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah, I think it's great. I'm all about bespoke life and bespoke living. Right. So you choosing your chair.
Yeah.
That makes me
I like
happy.
that we're on different cameras because you can't really see how small we are.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've lost over 100 pounds, so I really look small compared to what I used to look.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
But yeah. So the football thing, it planned out. The plan for it was just to just make it to the NFL and live long.
Live it.
Yeah, just do it up. But I got hurt early on, and I studied anatomy physiology in school. And after I was with the Patriots and then the Browns. So Tom Brady was my college and pro quarterback.
Is that right?
So I had a really good experience just being around just really great teams and great, just leadership in general.
Yeah.
And learning just the art of winning and just what that recipe is. So
now, was he that intense from day one?
Yeah, Tom is
he's always been focused.
Yeah, he's the same. It's to see him today is really to see him when we were at school with him.
Well, he still looks young.
He looks the same.
Yeah,
he looks good. But it's cool because he's still the same person. So
right. And
it's nothing really got to him. He's just a successful person. He puts his pants on the same way he did when we were at Michigan. So
right.
But so after I got hurt,
didn't FTX get to him?
Yeah, let's not talk about
that. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not like that. Yeah,
no, probably not.
Well, yeah, Vrabel was there when I was there as well.
Oh,
Your former coach here. At
Yeah,
the Titans,
yeah.
So,
cool.
but yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of successful people that have come from that regime of Belichick, and
Right.
just even Nick Saban. I mean, there's a lot of
Mm.
tenure from that. So, but yeah, so after football, life hit. I was like, man, what am I going to do?
Right.
So I dove into medical, and I did orthopedic medical sales. So I was on call 24/7.
Wow.
And I did that for years, and I was pretty successful at it. The problem was I just didn't get a chance to enjoy any of the success.
Mm.
So I, was like, what am I doing? This is ridiculous. I'm in surgery 24/7. Can't even spend the money I'm making. I had a friend. She had a concept and a business she was starting out in LA. And just by chance, I was like, I'll help you out. Quit my job, moved to LA. Everyone's like, you're crazy. What are you doing? And just by chance, I was able to help her orchestrate the product line that we ended up selling to Mia Hamm, Serena Williams, Venus Williams, which is now it's Mission Athlete Care, essentially that brand.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So I got to do a documentary with Matt Damon and all this, just a really great experience.
Right.
Come back to the United States, 2008 hits, the market crashes.
Mm.
It's like, oh man, what are we going to do? And so that's really when the transaction happened. We actually had to fire sell the company.
Got it.
So so that was kind of my first experience with entrepreneurship. And so that kind of led into working with like more of like the incubators and stuff at the time, because I didn't know what I was going to do next. So everyone's like, why don't you come in and take a look at all these businesses? And I'm thinking, what am I going to know about these companies?
Right, right.
So, but yeah, so that led me to my next company. That was in the college space. And that kind of is what resonated me with kind of doing the podcast and everything. Actually, Steve, was you were doing a podcast. You were talking about how the real estate industry was broken, essentially. Mm-hmm. You're like 50%. 50% of the time you jump out of an airplane, the parachute works. Is that work? Is that something that works for you?
Right. No.
So same thing with college. 50% of the kids drop out after the first year.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, there's something's got to be, changed here. Something's got to help. What can we take from other industries, implement it, and make it better?
It's good.
So we came up with a concept that a kid had at Kent State, and it was essentially allowing students to buy and sell class notes with each other, creating a social learning platform for each other to share the content amongst each other, but adding a dollar amount to it to help associate the content's value.
Really?
Yes. And then of course it helped them, if you're good in one class, it helps you pay for another class that you might not be so strong in.
Yeah.
So, we tied it in with the university's, the philanthropic programs. Sorry.
Sure.
And we did Greek programs. We did all kinds of stuff.
See, when I was in school, it was prehistoric, even though I look young. There was no sharing files or anything. Yeah.
You're
you had
from Houston. Where are you from?
Originally from DC, grew up in Georgia.
Okay, nice.
Went to school.
Did you pick that? He researched.
He did.
Yeah, I did.
I did. I'm impressed. I did. But people would like my notes, and so like the week of finals, people would pay me, or they wouldn't pay me. We'd go to Kinko's back in the day.
That's right.
And they would photocopy my notebook. That's it. And I should have charged them.
You should have.
Man,
I always use Cliff's Notes.
People like Van saying.
Well, Cliff's Notes was what's attached to the book. So this is someone's personal interpretation of content, right? So there's a different, and so that's the whole thing. It's like you can learn better from multiple different perspectives too,
right?
Sure, yeah.
And then it's not just copying or cheating and all that. So,
but the girl I dated back then, she did her notes in color coded. Like she, those pens that had the 4 colors in it, so if the teacher said it was in one color. If it was written on the board, it was another color. It was amazing. I'm just saying, we were into our notes. I don't know why. It worked, I guess.
There's a couple notes I still have all the notes from the site that it's in, the file that's tucked away and it's locked up. And I had a chance to go through it after I closed the company down. I ended up selling it to a company over in Israel. And there was a note in there. It blew my mind. It was 814 pages of what you were just saying. And I'm looking at this thing, and she sold it for over $5,000, and she sold it like 15 times.
No way.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, there's my problem. I don't sell anything.
That's right.
I just buy.
You got to monetize these things, man.
Why are you not telling me these things? I've got to make new friends here so I can learn.
If not, we'll just create a business for you.
That's it. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Hey, it's all about me. I like that. You know, the root word of vanity is van. I was
Is it?
just saying.
Yeah, there you go. I learned something new today.
Yeah, you know. But this is supposed to be about you, so enough about me.
So what took you from college note sharing into the music industry?
Right.
So, of course, this always goes back to, success always happens from not just one person doing something. It takes multiple people and help.
Right.
And so I was very fortunate to have. Sorry, I'm moving back and forth a little bit.
He's an action man.
I know. I get excited and emotional.
Good.
But I have a best friend in high school whose dad is essentially the reason the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is in Cleveland.
Is that right?
And I needed to be in the college space of marketing, which you know well, right?
Yeah.
So of course I had a partnership with CMJ, College Music Journal. We were doing all this stuff. We had college reps.
Sure.
And so I called my best friend Steve and I said, Steve, do you think your dad could help me get a little, little step into the music,
right?
And help me get there, because kids these age of 18 to 24, they need comedy and music. That's the two things to tackle those kids, that demographic, The next day I'm in touch with some of the biggest people in the music industry, and I'm
Love it.
Are you kidding me? Like, thank you. And of course, and so Mr. Popovich was that guy.
How cool.
He signed Michael Jackson out of Motown, Johnny Cash, Bruce Springsteen, Barbra Streisand. He sued Sony for 38 years for Meatloaf's Bat Out of Hell album.
Wow.
Finally won, and then he passed away. And so Steve and I had a meeting with Steven Van Zandt in New York, and we were looking at Steven Van Zandt's as a program in education, which he actually was trying to implement, integrating rock and roll into the education system, like have it be like a subject.
Right.
So we were talking
as it should be.
It should be, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. So
School of Rock.
We were talking, and he's complaining about the labels at the time too. And we were going, and I said something to him. I said, well, why don't you just create your own platform?
Right.
And he looked at me and he goes, you can't. And I'm like, bullshit. We're doing it right now in the college space, like, what do you mean? So that drummed up that. And then of course, Mr. Pop. And so it was like, we want to create a legacy for Mr. Popovich. Everyone needs to know his story. He was the only person I ever seen in the music industry when I was with him, from Kid Rock to whoever, they would get up, the artist would get up, hug him. David Allan Coe. He found David Allan Coe $200,000 sitting in the royalties. And David Allan Coe wrote him a $40,000 check for like 8 years every time he saw him. And 8 years, every time he saw him, he wrote another check. Mr. Pop just threw it away.
Wow.
And he was just that person. Every time I saw him, he'd ask me about football. I'm looking at him going, screw the football. I want to know about these gold records on the wall. Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's just so down to earth. And Steve and his family, and I have such a love for them, So that's kind of what happened to find, to start Surreal, which is Surreal was initial company that was swallowed up by Vocana. So, and now we're on the fast track to getting this Vocana launched.
Love it.
Yeah.
So talk to us about Vocana. What is Vocana about?
So Vocana is essentially it's going to be user-centric payment. So it's not just throwing things in a bucket and dispersing it everywhere. It's actually how much you're consumed. You're going to get paid off of that. What's in that bucket?
Oh wow!
So now you're talking different amounts of royalties,
right?
Significant amounts that you could actually live off of. I moved here to essentially bring in a certain amount of independent artists to let them experience the technology that we built. Which going to beta, doing IT and technology, right? It's essential. Yeah. You have to know the experience, the user experience. Where do they fall off? How is it going to work? What systems need to be upgraded? What's actually going to get the flow? And so coming here and just seeing how many independent artists have 3 or 4 jobs.
Oh yeah.
The artists I met, the stories, it's unbelievable. And it's such a sweet spot for me, as I hate bullies. And the music industry's got a lot of bullies, and I'm the bully killer, bro. Like, I just don't.
Wow.
I'm telling you right now, like, it don't float. Like, it just doesn't work for me.
It can add another couple of letters to his
Hey,
BDO
yo.
BK.
Coming for you.
Bullet killer.
No, but it's because there's been lack of opportunity for these musicians to do things, right? But there's also the lack of interest from the musicians. They don't really want to deal with it.
Sure.
They want to stay in their space doing what they do and love.
Be creative.
Yeah.
Right. So we're trying to simplify and put some of this stuff on autopilot for them so that they can focus on what they love doing.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
So how does it work? Like, what are some of the features? What
are we doing?
Yeah.
So it's a streaming platform, essentially. So you can go in and upload music. You can manage it. So we're pulling data and analytics from everything. Mm-hmm. You'll have a real-time dashboard showing what's going on in real time. Who just bought this? Who just listened to that? You know, you're able to say thank you. So a direct connection to artist to fan. That direct connection creates a super fan.
Right. Oh yeah.
That super fan, way different money. You also now have a 24/7 storefront that is very familiar because every page you go to is same navigation. So you don't have to get acclimated to Skid Row, to Motley Crue, to, you know what I mean? And it's a different user experience. Now the flow is the same, right? There's a tip jar there. 3 a.m, I'm drunk. I want to give you $1,000. You got $1,000, baby. You know, so you know, it's a way to open up all the flow to make sure that everything happens that you want to happen, mm-hmm. and it's policed and it's done professionally. So yeah.
So, in terms of the royalties and things like that, is that based on viewers listening on Vocana? So this is like a totally separate ecosystem from Spotify or anything else. Okay.
Yeah, and we'll get the data. So we'll share with you because we have APIs attached to YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all that. So you'll know, but you're not going to get paid like that through us from the start. We'll say. I want to be careful what I say, but I think you see where we're coming from at some point.
Sure.
At some point, you have to make a decision.
Your soul and tell us everything.
All right. In that case, we're just going to for that start of the conversation.
Give the mindset.
Yeah, I mean, so I think what the plan is it just like anything, you have multiple streaming services for what you're consuming.
Right. For
you don't just have Netflix, you got Hulu, there's 80 of them, So I think there's going to be a little bit of an acclimation period to where, do I want to go here and listen to everything? The feel good associated with knowing that your listening is going to get your artist paid.
Yeah.
Is pretty powerful. The data shows it. There was a report that came out in I want to say it's 2019. I might be 2018. I'll confirm it. And I'll show it to you before I leave. 58 pages, 60 pages. It changed my life. I was already working on, it was surreal at the time, Vocana. And it was done by a bank in New York, and they came back and showed our business model is what flips the paradigm on its head.
Wow.
And it was like, what? I got on the phone I actually read it in the middle of the night. I woke up, I couldn't sleep. I go to my office. I click on this link, and it was a picture of Kanye. And for some reason, I just saw this something IFPI report. What is this thing? Open it up. I read it, and it really changed my life. I was like, I couldn't believe it. But it broke down every sector of the music industry and where all the things that take place, from mechanicals, to the publishing, to all the different royalties and all the different facets of what's going on in the music industry.
Sure.
It's amazing. There's just so many middlemen.
So Van, this is kind of your world. So I'm going to let you ask some of these technical questions.
Well, he's answering.
But like, how does this work with like, CSAC and ASCAP, and, these guys
and performing rights organizations?
Those are separate too. I mean, they're essentially doing their own thing. They're policing the airways.
That's right.
And they're essential. We're not here to replace any of that.
Okay.
We work with everyone. As a matter of fact, you could be a label and be on our platform and manage your artists.
That's wonderful.
Underneath, so it can be hierarchy to where you're in there, and each one of your artists are boutiquely managed.
Perfect.
And that's really and empowerment is what we're going for. It's not you're fucked up and we're not.
Right.
You
right.
know, like that's not what we're after here.
Sure.
It's really how do we enhance and make things better.
Hmm.
That's a really good question. I think a lot of people have asked me that, especially people that are not, and you being in the industry, you probably get it a little bit better. But
Sure.
most of the people that aren't, that's a lot of people's initial reaction. Like, are you crazy? You're going after Spotify? Good luck.
Right.
You'll be calling me for a job in 6 months.
Yeah, but you got to think there's so many bands out there who have built a local following, and
Right.
they've cultivated that, and they're ready to take it to the next level. And those, as you said, those lifetime super fans,
Mhm.
Who have come out to the shows when there were 2 people in the club or wherever, and they've shown up every time they come back, and then eventually they're the street team, and they're the ones making it happen. They love it when their bands start making some money.
Yeah.
They love it.
That was Hailstorm I just saw the other night in Pittsburgh.
Very cool.
Female singer and just, rock. And I'm talking, and that girl kills it.
Yeah.
But a very, very boutique, very intimate fan base.
Right.
She sees the people who's in her show.
That's right.
150 shows that there was someone there. I was like, she attributed to them and she said, thank you.
Absolutely.
It's amazing.
We used to take like a before the internet, we had the big maps, the, what do we call it? Got them at Walmart or whatever.
The key map?
Yeah. Well, the big, I can't think. With all the pages, but, and we would take the maps and we would take the compass, with the pen on it and the pencil, and we'd do a couple hour radius, and then we would hit every venue in that, and then eventually build the following, and we'd spread it out. And then how far can we drive in a night? How far can we go in 2 nights? Whatever it is. And
are you talking about a compass?
Yeah. And we would just do that, and that's how we would choose the venues and the towns we would perform in, awesome. And that sort of thing, and eventually build that following.
Mm-hmm.
Something like this,
no stone unturned.
It puts a rocket fuel into it.
Yeah.
Now you said this is basically like their storefront. Does this carry into like merch and stuff as well?
It does. So the attachment to merch is very powerful, especially because lyrics has yet to be dove into with attaching, and being able to print on demand.
Mm-hmm.
Having the ability to digitize everything is there's got to be a simplicity to it. It's like, why haven't they done this yet?
Right.
But as you're listening to a song, you should be able to buy the merch for the song. Everything should be right there. One touch,
naturally.
boom. And of course, that's money for the artist.
Right.
The other thing is there's no upfront cost. It absolutely should. Who else should it be?
Right.
Not me. Right. We take $1 from every merch. That's it, $1, and we take 0 of your royalties. So we make no money off you.
Right.
But so that's gosh, who else should be making that money?
Mm-hmm.
It's really crazy. I can't really understand why that's happening. But the big part is there's no upfront cost. So you don't need $5,000 to buy T-shirts that's going to sit in your garage because you don't have Joeys that wore medium.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck can you do with all those T-shirts?
Right.
And then you got to carry them and all that. Like,
oh
God, no.
Yeah.
It's funny because a lot of the athlete friends I have, guys that all the athletes want to be musicians, and a lot of the musician friends they want to be the athletes. It's like,
right.
If you only knew, like everyone complains to each other. It's like,
exactly,
carrying those T-shirts.
Now I can see this appealing to a lot of kind of like up and coming artists and things like that. Are you starting to get any penetration with like some of the bigger names? Or
I've had amazing support. I'm batting 1,000. I don't know how. Thank God, and I knock on wood. But I've been blessed enough to sit down with Steven Stills at his home. You're talking people that have just been through the ringer too,
right?
With the labels and everything.
Well, I would think legacy bands, once they're out of certain commitments, would just go nuts for this.
They love it.
Yeah,
and they could also go back and re-record.
Exactly.
So, a Copyright Recapture Act.
That's right.
There's an opportunity there, the window, but I think the ability to go back and re-record and then to start your own. And over time, people migrate and they move around.
Right.
And we're still looking at numbers that not a lot of people are streaming yet. Believe it or not, Is that crazy to say?
That's hard to believe.
You know, there's continents that have yet to be streaming.
Right, right.
So there's still opportunity, and there's still, sustainability opportunity. We're talking longevity here, right? There's a reason why Michael Jackson's catalog is getting bought for what it's getting bought for.
It's incredible.
Yeah. So it's really empowering. And I think just from the perspective of the feel good and of course doing some things different now.
Yeah.
Just in general.
You seem very passionate about this.
I only do things I'm passionate about.
Why do you care so much about this?
I don't like the attachment to Mr. Popovich is probably the closest thing.
Okay.
That it's just everyone needs to know his story. So
yeah.
The whole point of that was to have Vocana donate money to this Popovich Foundation, which we want to create a scholarship in every single music department across the United States in Mr. Popovich's name. So that now we're educating people about his story, because he sets precedents on a couple things legally in the music industry now because of his lawsuits.
Got it.
So, but yeah, he's just the respect and love that people gave him. I mean, it was just, they had the Breakfast Club. It was, it was Garth's manager. It was Michael Jackson's manager, Mr. Popovich. And I'm sitting there going, do any of these people know who's sitting at this table? It's unbelievable to me,
Right.
But their stories and the genuine nature of them, and to see what they went through and how people screwed them and treated them and lied to them.
Right.
It makes me bitter. I don't like it. So yeah.
So that's actually how I suckered Van into joining me. Is Van, we can
create, is the right word.
He hated being
we can create this business that can fund the work we want to do in the community
that we were already doing.
Well, that we were already doing, but yeah.
How's that going for you guys?
It's gone great.
Pretty well.
So far, so much so that the work we were doing in the community has a life of its own.
Yeah.
It works even without us.
I love it.
It's amazing.
That's awesome. You said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're serving over 1,000 kids a year now. It's amazing.
I tell people that all the time. Like, if we come into these incubators, I'm like, make a business that makes money while you sleep.
Well, there's that. There's the bit. This is what I was talking about. Wasn't business.
Well, you were saying grow. You're
but
growing.
You're right. Yes,
it has the opportunity. Yeah. It has legs.
I don't want anybody to hear this and go, oh, make money off the kids.
Aren't you a not-for-profit?
It is not this.
But you're talking about impact, is what I'm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
They're sleeping. They're enhanced from you.
That's
that opportunity to help them. That's awesome. Yeah.
So, talk to us a little bit more about the Steve Popovich Foundation. Like, how does that align with Vocana? What's that relationship? What do you?
Is it just where they get donations, or is there an element or a flow that's part of it?
We've yet to figure that out, because we're still defining the last stages of what our launch is going to be with marketing, because we're dollars and cents right now raising money. Mm-hmm. We've done a really good job of going through these processes and getting things up to this point. And I think right now it's about finalizing the technology and getting it to market. And then we'll be able to assess how much we are able to take in, or how much we're able to engage together.
What does Vocana mean? What's the genesis of that word?
We made it up.
Oh, well, what does it mean to you then?
I don't know. I didn't get to choose it.
I
stepped aside for that.
I've been wondering the whole time. Like,
I chose surreal music. We were an S, and Superman S and a guitar.
Yeah,
I kind of took the guitar pick and then just threw.
I mean, I like any word that starts with a V. So.
Do you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm just saying. Show me your V.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, I guess Van is in the word.
Always. Van is in every word. Have a fantastic day. Let me vandalize you.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So you guys are in beta at this point. When do you expect like a full release?
I believe we're shooting for like January, February.
Okay.
At that point, we'll be able to then we'll do content providers. So we have a licensing deal. We're integrating, how many millions? I think we're somewhere around 15, 20 million tracks. So we'll have licensed music there as well. So that's another component of royalties as well. So we'll be paying out royalties to those PROs and all them too. So That's why we have to play nice in the sandbox
That's
as
right.
well.
That's right.
You know?
Absolutely.
But yeah, so
Well, I'd rather them be my ally than my enemy. So.
absolutely, we're part of the community. I mean, that's
You
the
bet.
whole thing. You know, we really we think of ourselves as being just another one of the guys that want to be part of something that's and making it better. You know.
Well, I found most of the people that work in those places are pretty extraordinary people. Like, you'll find that they want to see this succeed.
Sure.
Maybe the people at the top, maybe not, but
Look how powerful music is, though.
That's right.
It's the soundtrack for life.
That's right.
So what does the beta program look like? Like, how many artists do you have involved with it? How many like end users do you have involved with it?
So the beta was very small. It was more like a focus group, I would say. And I think that had to do with just because there's so many components of what we're doing. There's a lot of spokes in the wheel, and I'm sure your IT background is going alert, alert, alert. Like you have to focus on one thing first, because we are doing a few different spokes in the wheel.
Mhm.
So the processes are making sure that they're clean, they flow, and I think the biggest component of that question is essentially who you're partnering with and where you're getting the data and analytics from. Because we're not a payment system royalty plan. We're not that company. We're going to partner with the company that does that.
Okay.
We also are not a merch company. So
Right.
we have multiple merch fulfillment centers.
Sure.
So it's finding out who's the best is and making sure that we have a solid deal with them. And then our technology is to aggregate it all.
How long have you been working on this?
It's hard to say.
Yeah?
9 years.
9 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah. I dive in. I mean, the first one I had, let's see, I was there and I moved so I lived in LA. So I moved,
Right.
the second one I lived in New York, Boston, and Cleveland, 3 cities. This one I'm living in, Pittsburgh.
All good
Nashville,
music
Cleveland.
cities. All good. Yeah.
And you got to just embrace it. People are like, God, you're like a nomad. You live everywhere. I'm like, yeah, I kind of do miss the fact that I just can't go to one place every time. But
Sure.
screw it, you only live once.
So we call this Nashville's movers, shakers, and taste makers.
That's right.
So it sounds like you're moving, you're shaking things up, and you're bringing some taste. You're like all the above.
Thank you.
Now, anytime you try to shake things up from the norm, there's pushback. People don't like change. Where are you getting pushback from? What are some of the challenges you guys are dealing with?
Absolutely.
Just do it with a smile. That's my thing. Do it with a smile.
Always. First of all, being in the startup community, and as I'm sure as you know, you have investors.
Sure.
You're managing a lot with that. I tell people this all the time. They're like, "Oh, you get to, you're working on the technology." I'm like, "No, I raise money. I spend most of my time managing and raising money.
Mhm.
And I've done most of that in the past. I'm trying to migrate out of that, and I'm working on some separate projects now, personally. Like we're working on a museum at the University of Michigan football. So we have all these old artifacts, and I'm helping to develop that.
Cool.
And so that's been nice, but because I'm not fundraising,
Right.
But then again, now I am too, because I do have to get donations for it. And I'm like, God, it's never ending. Everything. So where's the money at? I got to find it. But yes, and it's not so much the money; it's the people. Just as much as they're looking to invest in people,
right?
They're not investing in businesses; they're investing in me.
Sure.
They're giving me the check, to get it done.
Mm.
So I've been fortunate to have the track record, and I know the recipe that I work best with to get it done. There's no guarantee though, and I tell them that too. By the way, this is the worst investment you could possibly do. It's like it's the riskiest thing on the planet, but if you hit it, you hit it.
Yeah.
So
now in all your research, did you see where my wife went to school?
No, but I know she speaks Chinese.
Japanese.
Yeah. Screwed that up too.
She went to Michigan State.
Michigan State?
Yeah.
It's not that bad. It could be worse. She could have went to Ohio State. It'd be even worse. But hey, listen, I'm sorry. I dated a basketball player at Michigan State when I was at Michigan State.
Is that right?
Yes.
Wow. A house
There's
divided.
a little bit of a rivalry between us.
I've heard that.
Like we didn't have that when I was in college in Houston.
Nothing. No.
How could you not have a rivalry?
I guess there were rivalries.
So have you adopted the rivalry?
They're intense.
Well, yeah, things are intense in football.
So are you?
No, I honestly, I don't.
You said you
I don't
stand
care.
back and just watch. You're
Yeah.
like, you guys are sick.
I
Father.
tend to like players more than teams.
Hmm.
That's
So,
smart.
yeah,
That
You-
sounds
that's
non-committal to me.
It is, but it's a safer bet. You know, you
Who
gotta.
wants safe?
Yeah.
Come on.
Who's your team? Who's your team, by the way?
Well, the Georgia Bulldogs. Come on.
Are you Georgia?
Hello.
Okay, hey, all right. Are you a Houston fan?
eh,
Yeah.
Oh,
Are you? How about Titans?
yes. Say the Titans.
sure.
They're a wonderful organization. We do
I'm
great
not,
work with
again,
them.
I like players. I don't,
Who's your player? Tell me. Who's your guy?
well, see, if you're just gonna like
Who's the jersey at home?
Oh, here we
who's your
go.
player,
Yeah.
then I'm not gonna say present tense. I'm gonna say like in general, like football for me
Yeah.
was Earl Campbell.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
growing up in Houston, like
Oh,
he
yeah.
was the dude. You know,
Yeah.
and man, his legs were as big as me. Just his legs. It was crazy. But yeah, that'd be my football player.
Remember that commercial he had? Skull Brother.
Yeah.
I love it.
Put a chew in. Oh man, he was badass, dude.
I remember meeting Herschel Walker when he was at Georgia, right?
Oh,
When he
really?
was,
Yeah.
working, on the team
Another machine.
with Vince Dooley as the coach and all that, and I remember going into a Burger King and I was like in middle school, I think. And I walked up and I met him and I was like, my goodness, his leg is as big as my whole body. Like I couldn't believe it. Like it was literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're talking about two and like
Yeah.
those are like
Couldn't
they're
believe
freaks of nature, those guys, you know.
Yeah.
I always like Brady too. I mean,
Did
people
you?
like to give him a hard time because
Tom is not
like
a freak of nature.
people like
Well, he didn't get as
underdogs, but
successful as he is
he-
without being amazing.
anyone that can be that focused and,
Yeah.
and that disciplined, like you got to respect that.
Absolutely.
But we're not here to talk about that. We're
Yeah, well,
about
that's all
you.
good.
So,
That's a big part of me. I mean, yeah.
what are the long-term goals for Vocana?
Yeah, long-term goal. I build sustainable businesses. I think that's the intention of Vocana is to create sustainability for musicians. The concept of like the labels do it all the time. I just don't understand it.
Hmm.
And you've seen it, I guarantee it.
Oh, yeah.
3 months, they just throw up on you for an artist. For 3 months, boom, all over the place. Then it's gone. They're on a desert. It's like, well, hold on. You're on your own now, by the way. Oh, by the way, you got to pay us back 3 times. It's like,
Yeah.
It's
what?
hard.
So what things can you do to help and enhance? And so that's where
Right.
we are trying to take and enhance and roll. So like, I want to say some things, but I can't, like,
Sure.
I think that's where there's an opportunity to make
Just
things
say it,
better.
Just say it.
Google ads,
Oh,
your royalties, like there's
Yeah,
portions
yeah.
of the things that you can do that just small portions.
Sure.
And you don't need to do anything about it. There's systems that do it for you.
Mhm.
So just have it set up. You don't have to think about it, and it hits the reach that you were talking about with the
Right.
compass,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
The radius that you want to hit, the demographic that you want to hit.
That's right.
Oh, and by the way, it's not like the mail marketing you used to do back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
You're talking 95% target market.
That's right.
So they want to hear what they get pushed to them. It's like no brainer. So that the data right now out there is just empowering, just like it is in real estate, right?
Mhm.
You know where to go, and you know probably what's going to happen.
So how far away are we to being able to experience Vocana?
So from a consumer side, I would say we're a little bit further out.
Okay.
Probably like in the spring. Probably springtime of next year.
Spring of 2025.
Yep. If I'm wrong, then we'll all be happier.
I love it.
Yeah. It's always late.
Good. Good.
But, so that's there's some things that we're trying to figure out too. I think times are changing with just tech builds, and I think the thing is to offshore, onshore is now getting wishy-washy.
Sure.
And I don't know if it has to do with the war and all the stuff going on with just international tension and stuff, but there's lots happening now.
So something I like to ask people, not always on camera. I ask them usually off camera. So tell me why you're willing to come onto the podcast.
Yes, I mean just a few things. So I liked your background, obviously, with sport, with music in general, like just having the marketing and music was like, I could totally resonate with it.
My world.
Yep. And like the few things that you said, when you said 50%, talking about wait, hold on. If this is 50%, I can do it better. And you dove into real
That's
estate.
right. And he
It's
did.
exactly why I did the education company. I was like, wow. And that just hit me like right away. I was like, I need to do this.
Right.
So I go with my gut. You know, my grandmother told me that a long time ago. She said, this will mess everything up. This will never mess anything up.
Yeah.
So just, focus on that. So I really try to be, and I don't judge who has what, it's not about money. It's not, none of that equals success to me.
Sure.
Or happiness, as we all know. You can't buy it.
That's right.
Yeah.
You just can't. So I try to surround myself with the right people. So I got the right energy from you guys.
Yeah.
So you got, it worked out.
That's good.
Yeah.
What kind of advice would you give someone who's transitioning out of football or whatever they spent their young part of their life doing?
Well, just one career to another. You've transitioned
Yeah.
a few different industries.
That's right.
I
and you've done it well.
That.
So
I really.
What advice do you have to give to somebody in that?
Thanks for recognizing that. Because I do. That is the one thing that I do. Looking back on everything, I'm like, I've done a good job with that. Because the numbers, they're daunting when you look at them. It's
scary. I mean, it's scary. Yeah. You spend your lifetime playing football or being in the business of music or being in pharmaceutical sales or whatever it is, and then all of a sudden you're faced with something where you don't know what's the next step.
Yes, the fear of the unknown.
Yeah,
right. The biggest fear is the fear of the unknown.
What's your advice?
Yeah, my advice. Don't be afraid. No, but my advice, honestly, is that
face it.
Is half of the battle is just starting. Just getting it going and doing something.
Somebody said that at lunch today.
They did.
Did they? Yeah. Just getting going. I'm sure he did because I could see it. We're gonna have a lot of synergy. This is going to continue on, but no. So I think that there's something to be said for that. And if you're not doing something, even if it's not in the area that you're trying to be focused in, but if you're doing something will happen. For every action, there's a reaction.
That's right.
But if you're sitting at home doing nothing, don't expect everything to happen for you. I can't stand people that just sit around. They're like, well, you said that this. I'm not. How's it going to happen if you're on your ass? Like, come on.
Right. That's right.
What
do they say? It's much easier to steer a moving ship
than get it started.
Yeah. Got to be moving.
Absolutely.
For it to.
Absolutely. I was walking into practice in New England, and it was my 8th practice or something, 10th practice, something like that. And a senior linebacker, a guy played in the NFL about 13 years at the time. Teddy Bruschi's on ESPN and stuff. Now he handed me this piece of paper, and I'm walking. We're walking together. And I'm looking at him, going, "What the hell is this thing?" First line: 88% of you will go through a divorce first year out of NFL.
Wow.
I'm like, what is this shit?
Right.
Wait, what? 75 of you will be in bankruptcy, and it just kept going and going and going. And it was like the stats of it was unbelievable. And I was like, I do not, sure as hell, I got a divorce for sure. I didn't have a bankruptcy, thank God, but there's a few other things on there I definitely hit. And I was like, that's when I realized it was like, I just got to go.
Right.
And so I think successful people have the ability to just kind of deflect things very fast, where they're not like overtaken by things, whether it's a death in a family or something. Right. I just lost my dog. I thought I was going to die.
Sure.
It was like the worst thing ever. I was like, but I had to get over it. And so I just keeping myself busy.
It's a moment in time.
Yeah.
It happened. Now, what are we doing next?
Right.
Yeah.
And I know my dog wants the best for me. So it's
good.
like, you know what I mean? So you got to kind of figure out, it's like that positive thing. Like, can you think of all the positive things to make yourself,
right,
and manifest positive things?
Yeah.
So I really am, I go to the desert and do ayahuasca every year.
Oh, wow.
I've gotten really into this thing with the mushrooms.
Oh.
Because of CTE.
You heard it here. You heard it here.
Yeah. I'm big. I've been on medical marijuana since 2006.
Wow.
I'm very holistic because I lost my college roommate to opioids.
Right.
I was addicted to them at one point. I thought I was going to die.
Scary.
It saved my life.
Scary.
So this is where that side of my life is what's given me the ability to transform into my career.
Right.
And the ability to keep going in my career. And so essentially to pay tribute to that, I make sure that I keep going,
Right.
no matter what happens. Like, and I've been through some.
Never give up.
Never
give up.
I get up.
That's right.
Well, I appreciate that you're open about talking about failures you've had in the past. Like every successful business person has had some failures in the past. You know?
Yeah.
It's like there's nothing to be scared of or ashamed of or anything. I'm just like, you move on to the next thing. Keep going.
Yeah, you have to, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're not around to tell a story either.
That's true, and everybody loves a story.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I have a son. He's 21 years old, and
ooh, what's that like?
That was having a son. It was my senior years of college. It's like, holy cow!
Wow.
I had to grow up pretty quick, but he didn't go to college.
Okay.
And everyone looked at me like, what? He's not going to college?
Right.
And he was a really good football player. Could have played football in college. And no, he's not going to. What? Are you upset? And I'm like, no. What are you talking about? I give that kid more credit because he works on cars and that's his passion.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of going on, for 4 years and
right.
4 years, like he dove into what he loves doing. And he's enhancing his life by doing something he loves. And I told him, it's not about how much you make. It's if you're going to do something you love every day, you're not going to work.
It's true.
Are we having fun sitting here? Are you, it's like,
I know.
I am. I like you guys, but like, seriously, like, are you really enjoying what you do? And do you love what you do? So, my son gives me that perspective back, and just that conversation. It's like, sometimes you're coaching yourself.
Right.
So yeah, I've been blessed to have a lot of good people around, and I think that's another thing, who you surround yourself with. Loyalty and all that is a big thing.
I love it.
Very big thing.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, if someone wants to get involved with Vocana somehow, or if they want to get involved with the Steve Popovich Foundation,
they might have a band and they want some help.
Yeah. What's the best way to reach out to you guys for Vocana or for Steve Popovich?
Sure. So there's the simple way, honestly, just Vocana right now. You could pre-register and just go to www.vocana.co.
Okay.
So we started with the CO.
Right.
The .coms is like the old thing. We're the new thing. And the Popovich Legacy Foundation is it's the long URL right now. If you just search Steve Popovich, it'll come up in a Google search and you can find out what's going on with that. But we have ways to go, on the scholarship side.
Right.
But
well, that'll come.
It'll happen. And we're trying to do it in unison, so it kind of marries up with the timing of the company.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see.
Baby steps.
For a minute, I want to start doing some leaps and bounds,
Yeah.
But it never happens that way. We'll just keep going.
That's all right.
Yeah.
That's all right.
So yeah, I appreciate the opportunity for you guys to even share that. So thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show.
Oh,
absolutely.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I love colorful people.
Especially
those who have good stories.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, with that, we will see you guys next time.
Yes.
Well, that's a wrap on today's episode of Behind the Curtain, Nashville's movers, shakers,
and taste makers.
We hope you've been inspired by the stories of passion, perseverance, and innovation right here in Nashville.
A big thank you to our guests for sharing their journeys and to you, our listeners, for joining us. And of course, our gratitude to Accord Real Estate for making this conversation possible.
Don't forget to follow or subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform.
Thank us.
Yes, you did.
Oh, I guess I did. Well, thank us. Okay.
Like I was saying.
Oh, yeah.
Don't forget to follow or subscribe on your favorite platform to catch every episode and hit that notification bell. We've got plenty more fascinating guests lined up, ready to share their insights and inspirations.
And we love hearing from you. So reach out to us with your thoughts, questions, or suggestions for who you'd like to hear from next.
Until next time, keep chasing your dreams and making your mark in Nashville.
Oh, my goodness.
Remember,
I'm talking to Casey
it's
Kasem.
The people behind the scenes that make the city shine.
I love it. Take care. See you behind the curtain.